Good morning. Okay, let's read further. We are studying the essay Computers and the Pursuit of Happiness, written by David Galanter. Let's begin by brief information about the writer and the context of this essay. So, this essay has been written by David Galanter, who was a professor of science at Yale University. This is important information because it tells us about the writer or the speaker or the author of this argument. And knowing that the writer is a professor of computer science at a university creates ethical appeal. We tend to trust more what the writer says once we know that he is a professor of the same subject on which he is writing at a university. Then we further read that this author has written many books and articles on the role of technology in people's lives. This is further information that makes ethical appeal because we read that this writer or speaker is a very scholarly figure. He has written many books and articles on the topic of role of technology in people's lives. This essay is about role of technology. Okay, then we read that the text that we are going to read now is not a complete text, rather it is an excerpt or extract taken from his essay, Computers and the Pursuit of Happiness. That means there is a longer complete text somewhere, and from that text we have part of the text prescribed in our course. Then we read that this essay that we are going to read now, it deals with the influence on individuals and society of computers and the internet. So the topic of this essay is, let's pay attention, the topic of this essay is influence of computers and the internet on individuals and society. So this essay is about the influence of computers on individuals and the society. And then we read that this essay first appeared in a journal named Commentary in the year 2001. This is 2023. So we find that this essay is about 22 years old. And this creates a sort of problem because we might feel that this essay may be somewhat outdated. But we'll see what this essay says is outdated or relevant still today. So with this background information about the author and the source of the text, let's begin reading the first paragraph. So here, let's read the first paragraph. The writer begins with an exigence, or he begins with the question, what do people think about computers and social development? He begins with this question, and he says, people say, not the author, people say, people think, people believe that we are living in an information age. So this is a general perception about computers and their effect in society that people have. And the writer picks up the general perception of the people and then he develops his essay. So people say that we are in an information age. And people argue that mankind has completed sort of phase shift. So people argue that in the social development, we have moved from one phase of development to another phase. So people say that we were in solid agricultural age long ago, let's say 2 centuries ago or 1 century ago, let's say toward the end of 19th century. Until the end of 19th century, we were living in a solid agricultural age, and this solid agricultural age was replaced 2 centuries ago, 18th century, by the liquid industrial age, which now has given way to the gaseous, so to speak, age of information. Look at his metaphors. He uses the metaphor of solid, then liquid, then gaseous. So solid, agricultural, liquid, industrial, gaseous, information. This metaphor is very pertinent because agriculture is quite solid. We have tools, we work in the field. And industry is liquid because there is a lot of machinery. Then information is gaseous because we don't see information. So he begins with people's perception about what they think about computers and their impact on society, and says that people believe that we were in agricultural age, then we entered the industrial age, and now, pay attention to this word, now today in 2001, we are in information age. Everyone says so. Everyone says so. Then he used the word but. And this is contrast marker, argument marker. But now the writer takes his position. In a sense, you can say this essay is a position essay. The writer begins with the position people have on the topic of computers and their impact on social development. And he says, but is it true? This is a rhetorical question. He is not actually asking, is it true? He is making an assertion and rather saying it is not true. So do you see, the writer goes against general perception about computers and their impact on social development. So he raises the question, is it true? Now he develops 3 questions. The writer develops 3 questions, and the whole essay develops as an answer to these 3 questions. So what does he say? Has an old age ended? Are we, thanks to computers and the internet, living in a new one? So first question, has an old age ended? Has the industrial era ended? Are we, because of computers, because of computers and internet, are we living in a new one? So the first question is, are we living in a new era because of computers and the internet technology? First question. Second question, a related question, computers have been around for roughly half a century. Computers were invented in 1950, and this is in 2001. So computers have been around for roughly a half century. Have they been good or bad for mankind? Second question. Have computers been good for mankind in the past or bad for mankind in the past? Then third question. And finally, are they likely to do good or bad over the next half century? So, were computers good for mankind or bad for mankind in the last 50 years? And will computers do good for mankind or bad for mankind in coming 50 years? So thus we see the writer begins with the general perception about computers and their role in social development, and he begins by telling what people think, that because of computers we have entered a new age. We were in solid agricultural age 200 years before, then we entered industrial age, then now we have entered an information age. Then he puts a question, but is it true? Meaning that it is not true. Look at his position. His position is, we are not in any new age. And then he develops 3 questions. Has an old age ended? Are we in a new age because of information? have computers been good for mankind or bad for mankind in the last 50 years? Will they be good or bad for mankind for the coming 50 years? And we will see that this essay develops from these three questions, and these three questions develop into coming three sections. And you will see that right in the next paragraph, in a single sentence, he answers the first question: has an old age ended? Are we, thanks to computers and the internet, living in a new era? He answers the question: we are not in an information age, and computers and the internet are not a revolutionary development. So this is a claim. This is a claim. This is an argument. This is an argument. This is a thesis statement, whatever you call. This is a thesis statement which develops the first section. So clearly it takes a negative position. You can see we are not, focus on this, we are not in an information age as people think, and computers and internet are not a revolutionary development as people think, right? And he takes his position and he develops the first section. In the next part of this video, I will explain you how the writer develops the first section of his essay from this assertion that we are not in an information age and computers and the internet are not a revolutionary development. Thank you for watching. Please do watch the next episode as well.